Today we're going to be learning some tools that will be helpful while you're doing Reader's Theater. Now, in my opinion, the most important parts of Reader's Theater are being a good reader, especially important if you're being a narrator, and reading with emotion. Now, being a good reader, some important parts of this is your pitch, your speed, your volume, and speaking clearly. So, first is your pitch. When people are nervous, a lot of people tend to speak with a really high-pitched voice. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a high-pitched voice, but it sounds more natural if you try and use your natural speaking voice. Now, you can change your pitch and speak higher or lower if you think it would help with a character. For example, if you're playing a really little kid, you can use a higher-pitched voice. Or maybe you're a girl and you'd want to play an old man and you think he has a lower voice. Or maybe you have a higher pitched voice because you're really excited. These are all okay. But generally, if you're not making a character choice, try to speak as naturally as possible. Everyone's voices are different. Use yours. Next is speed. You want to speak at a pace where people can hear every single word that you're saying. Because if you speak too fast, sometimes it's hard to understand you. It's a lot harder to understand me when I speak like this. It's also really hard to understand because you get bored and stop listening when I'm speaking really slowly. So, if you speak too slowly, you might lose your audience. Again, you can always change up your speed if you're making a character choice, such as someone who's really excited might speak with a really fast voice. Or someone who's older and wiser, or maybe forgetful, might speak with a slower voice. Try and use as natural of a speed as you can, unless of course you're doing it for your character. Next is volume. This is a hard one for Zoom, but in general, you want to speak loudly enough that everyone can hear every single word that you're saying, but not too loud that you're shouting. Now, if you would like to whisper, you're going to try and do something called a stage whisper. That's where you speak in the voice where it sounds like you're whispering, but you say it really loud for a whisper. It's so people can hear you on stage, or in this case on Zoom. And if you're going to yell, I would suggest not using your full outdoor voice because that might be hard on people with headphones. Just make it a little louder so people can tell you're yelling without actually screaming. Next is speaking clearly. In music, this is often called good diction, or you may have heard the term enunciating. This is where you make sure you say every single syllable that is supposed to be said in a word. And you make sure you say every single letter that is supposed to be said out loud. This is how you stop yourself from mumbling. It's the difference between saying something like, hello, my name is Bob, and hello, my name is Bob. Which one was easier to understand? And finally, the most difficult thing to teach in this format is speaking with emotion. Because everyone's emotions are going to look different. Of course, there are some universal things like making sure that you're really smiley to show that you're happy, or making sure to frown and maybe speak kind of low and slow to show you're sad, or maybe making an angry face and kind of yelling and kind of speaking kind of low to show you're angry, or maybe having a little trouble breathing and speaking with a high-pitched voice to show you're scared or you're nervous. Or maybe even speaking really quickly to show that you're really excited. But in general, everyone's emotions are going to sound different. So give it your best shot. Once you know what your character is feeling, try out different ways of saying it and ask your friends for help.